Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome back. One of the biggest changes in this update is the addition of team-based racing in Knockout Tour rooms. If you've spent any time in Knockout Tour, you already know how intense and sometimes chaotic it can get, especially when you're racing against a full lobby of skilled players. Adding team races into the mix changes the entire tone of those matches. Suddenly, it's not just about your individual placement anymore. You start paying attention to where your teammates are, who's falling behind, and when it might actually make sense to play a bit more defensively. That green shell you'd normally toss forward without thinking might now be better used to protect someone on your team who's about to get knocked out. It adds a layer of strategy that wasn't really there before, and it makes communication and awareness matter a lot more, even if you're just playing with randoms online. What's also nice is that this team option isn't locked behind one specific way to play. You can use it in online rooms as well as wireless play, which makes it great for local gatherings or competitive setups where people want something a little more structured than free-for-all chaos. It feels like Nintendo wanted to give Knockout Tour more staying power, and this is a smart way to do it without overcomplicating things. Another important addition, especially for players in Europe, is the inclusion of Polish language support. This might sound small to some people, but accessibility like this really matters. Being able to navigate menus, understand item descriptions, and follow online options in your native language can completely change how comfortable a game feels. It's one of those updates that doesn't affect everyone, but for the players it does affect. It's a huge quality of life improvement and shows that Nintendo is still expanding support rather than just maintaining the status quo. Now, let's talk about the fixes, because this update quietly tackles several issues that players have been reporting. One of the more serious problems involved a crash that could occur under specific conditions, like racing as Kamek on Choco Mountain. Crashes like that are frustrating because they don't just end a race, they break immersion and make online play feel unreliable. With this update, that issue has been addressed, and overall stability feels noticeably better. Races load more consistently, and long online sessions feel less risky, especially if you're someone who likes to play multiple cups in a row. There was also an issue with online ratings not displaying correctly when joining races set to everyone. If you've ever finished a race and felt confused because the numbers didn't quite line up with how you performed, that's likely what was happening. The update fixes that display problem, which helps keep the competitive side of the game feeling fair and transparent. When rankings and ratings are clear, it's easier to track your progress and feel motivated to improve rather than wondering if the system is glitching out. Beyond the specific fixes that were mentioned, this update also includes general adjustments and behind-the-scenes improvements that make the game run more smoothly overall. These are the kinds of changes you don't always notice immediately, but after a few hours of racing, you realize things just feel better. Fewer hiccups, fewer odd moments, and a more consistent experience across different modes. That consistency is especially important for a game like Mario Kart World, where even tiny disruptions can throw off your rhythm during a race. What really stands out to me is how this update feels very player-focused. It doesn't try to reinvent the game or distract with gimmicks. Instead, it strengthens what's already there. Team Knockout Tour gives competitive players something fresh to explore, language support opens the door for more players to fully enjoy the game, and the bug fixes show that feedback is actually being taken seriously. It's the kind of update that tells you the developers are paying attention to how people are actually playing, not just how the game looks on a feature list. After spending some time with this update, Mario Kart World feels more polished and more reliable, especially online. Whether you're jumping in for a few casual races or settling in for a long session with friends, the experience is smoother, clearer, and a bit more strategic than before. It might not be the loudest update the game has ever had, but it's definitely one that makes the overall experience stronger, and that's something worth appreciating.